Namaste and welcome to our panel Ayodhya, a civilization issue. We are delighted to have each one of you to join us for what promises to be an insightful and thought-provoking conversation. Our distinguished panelist brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table, and we are eager to dive into the issues surrounding Ayodhya and significance. This discussion provides a unique opportunity for us to gain valuable insight, share perspective, and foster a collaborative dialogue that can contribute to our collective understanding. Our first speaker today is Shri Ratanji Sharda. Namaste, Ratanji. He is an Indian author, columnist, and TV personality known for his work in the field of media, culture, and social issues. He has contributed to various publications and has been regular panelist on television debates, sharing his insights on range of topic. Ratanji has also been awarded a PhD for his thesis on RSS. He was founder secretary of Vishwa Kendra, Center of International Studies, Mumbai for 8 years. He is an advisor to many educational institutions and voluntary organizations. Our second speaker tonight is Shri Shantanu Gupta. Namaste, Shantanu. Shantanu is an Indian author, public speaker, and social entrepreneur. He has written books on a variety of topics, including political ideology and social cultural issues. Shantanu has worked for a decade on a process and management consultant in many cities in India. He's represented India in many international conferences on economy and policy as Germany, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and many more. And just now he has revealed that he is also writing a book on Ramayana, which will be published soon. As we embark on this intellectual journey, we encourage active participation and engagement from the audience. Your host for today will be Riddhiji and Rashmiji, and they will let you know when the session is open for Q&A. Before that, please do not unmute yourself and please do not ask questions. Please feel free to share your thoughts and contribute to the exchange of ideas, but no cross-questioning would be permitted. There is a chat box available as well to send the questions, and you may raise hand too. Please wait for the host to unmute you before you ask your questions. Now I invite Riddhiji and Rashmiji to moderate the discussion and Q&A session. Dhanyavad.
A very, very warm welcome to our esteemed guests for today, Shantanu and Ratanji. It's an absolute privilege to speak to you here today, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. I'd like to invite you to share your opening remarks, specifically what the Ram Mandir Ayodhya means in terms of being a crucial milestone to the Bharatiya civilization and the Sanatani Dharmis worldwide.
Ratanji is my senior, so I think Ratanji should start.
You come from Ayodhya, so I think you got first chance.
Okay, let me start. So I think you just now asked what Pran Pratishtha mean for you. I think, and Ratanji will remember, we together and all of us TV panelists have done hundreds and hundreds of debate in the last 4 or 5 years on the Ram Mandir topic. When it traveled to Supreme Court, different benches are made. When someone made a remark, we had multiple debates. And Ratanji, I think frankly speaking, at most of the moments, I thought it'll be only a TV debate. Like I most of the time doubted that I will ever see this in my lifetime. And for many other things, similar things like 370, CAA, will I see in my lifetime, right? So that's, I think whenever that moment will happen at 11:20 a.m. on 22nd January 2024, I think we all have to pinch ourselves just to believe that this is happening, right? So this is all of this, right? When we were on TV, we were used to discuss the history of it, the archaeology of it, the multiple reference of it. Recently, Ratanji, I was in some marriage event, and someone very casually remarked, "Ye to Modi ne verdict khareed liya," right? I go, okay. So I just probed that person more, like, what do you know about the verdict? So and this is a smart guy working on tech, like a big salary, all of that. It's like a smart guy, not like a passerby, right? Next day, what I did, I called like 10 of my friends, which I consider smart, from journalism to technology to doctors to like who are doing good in life, who have good aptitude. And I asked them, it was after 2019 November judgment, right? I asked all of them that, do you know that the Hindu side won the case and temple is being built? He said, yes, yeah, we know that. So the fact, first of all, on factual level, everyone knew it. Okay. My first litmus test was passed. Then I asked all of them why we won the case, right? Why Hindu side won the case. And to my surprise, these so-called very smart people have no clue. People gave me answers and there were a variety of answers. So I'll give you the answers I got. Someone saw it, okay, they dug up and they saw a temple beneath it. Okay, that's one of the reasons. Someone said, no, what's his name? That Swamiji, Chitrakoot Swamiji, who is blind. I forgot his name. Rambhadracharya. Rambhadracharya came on the court the last day. He quoted from Skand Puran, what is the exact shloka, and that proved it. Okay, that's one. And during that time, I was doing like the original study of the whole judgment of 1,000 pages. During debate, we read snippets. And then I realized I sat with some lawyer. I met Vishnu Jainji, who is also now in the Mathura case and the Ganmapi case. Got the chance to meet Parasaranji in Chennai recently. And he told a couple of, because he's very senior, he told a couple of nuggets. And then I realized that what a case that was, right? Which has a layers of a title suit, like a possession, like who, if there's a piece of land, who has the possession, who has the longest possession. Then it has a layer of historical chronicles, like what are travelers who came from various places, what are they mentioning about the temple. Then they have a mention of a lot of government orders, like what DM is writing to SP, that what should happen there. And you will realize, and then what happened in 1949 when the Ram Lala Murti appeared there, and from then on the case started, right? This is multiple layers. And with that multiple layer, if you read the case, or if you hear any of, you should all go and hear the videos of Meenakshi Jainji. She has given some amazingly long format videos on Ram Mandir case, largely in the historicity of it, right? And then you realize that it must be the most historically well-read case solved in India. The Jerusalem is, and that part of Israel is still contested by all the three religions, and it's still not solved. And they have all multiple cases in different courts still, right? So this is the most technically, which has the layers of history, layers of archaeology, layers of different kind of documentation of the past, and legal commentary. After all of that, the temple is coming up with a legal way, right? Someone was asking recently in a debate, all of us in many debates these days, Abhi kyun Ram Mandir? Pehle kyun nahi? So I think Ramji were also waiting that once I should see some site of Ramrajya, and then only I will come, right? And the Ramji's temple is coming when India's economy is number 5 in the world, when crores of people have toilets, houses, light, DBT. So there is a basic governance structure. The position of India outside Bharat is amazing. I'm sure you all feel this living in UK, living in Germany, living in US. The value of passport is very different than the way it is 10 years back. So when all of this is happening, and then Ramji is coming between us, so I think it's a civilizational moment for all of us. And yeah, I think with this I'll end and pass on the baton to Ratanji. For me, I think it's a civilizational movement, that a Ram temple, which we were talking about. Ram is in our culture, from Ayodhya Rām to Ram Ram to Radheshyam. It's in multiple names. Even Sita Ram, Rechuri's name is Sita Ram, right? So it's part of, we were brought up hearing the stories of Ramji, Hanumanji, like even our things are called Lakshman Rekha, Vanar Sena. It was part of our culture, right? And it was I think a collective kalank on all of us. Ratanji, whenever I used to go to Ayodhya from last 6-7 years, I used to see that tent wala temple, right? And I used to get enraged and sad at the same time, that in the city of Rama, in the city of Ayodhya, in Uttar Pradesh, in India, we can't make a temple for him. We have to go to fight a case and we have to prove that Ram was born in Ayodhya. right? And I found it ridiculous and very enraging, both. And and I'll ask to a lot of you, a lot of people, Ratanji, in various parts of India now, maybe they didn't know where is Ayodhya. They knew it's in Uttar Pradesh, like somewhere in Uttar Pradesh, but where exactly it is? It's in like near Delhi or near Banaras. And I discovered exactly where is Ayodhya when I was writing Yogi Adityanath's biography. Because from Lucknow to Gorakhpur is a 4.5 hour road journey. And in between, exactly 2 hours from Ayodhya, east side, like towards Bihar, if you start moving, you get Ayodhya. And my driver told, and my other started doing prayer to, like, generally to the area and saying, and they all say Ayodhya ji, they never say Ayodhya. This is Shri Ayodhya ji. And he did it, pranam, said, oh, it's Ayodhya. And I said, okay, take inside. I had time. And I just had a drive through the city the first time around 6.5 years back. I must have passed through train, buses many times, being from Uttar Pradesh, but never, because Ayodhya was this kind of disputed town. वहां तो दंगे हो रहे हैं, वहां तो कुछ हो रहा है, right? Made out to be. From last 6 years, because the Choti Diwali is celebrated in such a grand way through Dipotsav, a lot of media people, a lot of people are start going. So now they're hotels. So Ayodhya is kind of getting prepared from last 6 years for Ramji's arrival. I think everything is so perfect, is sound like too good to be true. So I
Oh,
think
that sounds fantastic,
that's the moment.
Shantanu. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing your experience. Ratanji, do you also believe that this is a crucial milestone for the Bharati civilization? I think you're on mute. You might need to unmute.
Yeah, I think Shantanu ji made some very good opening remarks. And as a person who was involved in Ram Janmabhoomi movement as an RSS Karyakarta, I had many moments. And in fact, today there is another YouTuber, but two of my friends who went for Car Seva were giving an interview. I met many people who went there. I have people who have got small piece of Babri in their home as a souvenir for during Car Seva. And I know people who suffered a lot and who actually were there. I was totally involved, but I couldn't go to for Car Seva because of some reasons. But very closely saw all this. As Shantanu said, that when we started this movement, we were not sure that whether when will Ram temple come, but we knew Ram Mandir आएगा, मंदिर वहीं बनेगा. इतना था, कब बनेगा पता नहीं, तारीख नहीं बताएंगे. Something that we will pinch all the time, मंदिर वही बनाएंगे, तारीख नहीं बताएंगे. But remember, as 500-year-old struggle. And what is the importance? Importance that this particular struggle tells us that we are the only civilization that has survived the onslaught of Abrahamic religions, first Islamic, then missionaries. Islamists destroyed temples openly, killed people openly. Missionaries conditioned our mind. Colonials conditioned our mind, and we accepted that we are slaves to useless people very happily. We took it as a good citation that we are useless people, have no knowledge, we have no history, we were savages and all that. So we looked up to British, saying that because they came, we were a nation. We were never a nation. That is where the struggle starts. And for the first time in the history of the world, we as a community, after 500 years of struggle, have snatched back our right, a place of worship, which nobody has done. No civilization actually survived. We are the only one who survived, and the biggest achievement of this is that we were able to finally take back our temple from the control of the invaders, after which it was passed on to some people who are not even invaders. And because of the typical secularism, only Somnath could be made, that too despite Nehruji's opposition, because of Kanhaiyalal Maniklal Munshi's very strong stance, who paid a heavy price. Rajendra Prasad ji paid a heavy price. But a people's movement which could get back the pride of the civilization, that okay, these three most famous temples, most revered temples, have to come back to us. Shantanu talked about the horrible condition of Ayodhya. I went there 10 years back. I felt so sad. You walked through cages. The monkeys were riding on top of you on the cages. You were inside like an animal. You traveled some hundreds of meters. You saw Bhagwan Ram Lala's murti in a tattered tent. And you came back saying, यहाँ आके क्यों आया मैं? Dirty lanes, dirty place, nondescript as he described it. And I thought, नहीं यार, मंदिर बनने के बाद ही आएंगे. That was the situation there. I will come only after the temple is made. If you go to Kashi, I had gone earlier also. I had seen Nandi Baba facing the Eidgah Masjid, and you could feel the pain. You could feel the pain because Nandi ji always faces the Shivaling. In Kashi Vishwanath doesn't face the Shivling because the original Nandi Baba actually looks at the Shivling that is inside the Eidgah mosque that was used as a wazoo. Imagine the insult that we suffered for so thousands, hundreds of years. You go to Mathura, I went there again after many years, just last month. And you actually walk down under the masjid to see the Krishna Janmasthan. You feel, so when you see the pain, you feel that pain that we in our own country have to beg for our gods, have to beg for our revered people's gods' temples, and we have to, wage a legal battle, an agitation, a movement to do this. And the genius of this movement started on a scale. See, a struggle was going on for many years, but the mass movement actually pressurized everybody to look into the matter and somehow solve it. Began in 1983, and it just imagine 30 years of consistent follow-up, consistent new models of agitation every time. Ram Janki Yatra, then there was Shila Pujan, there was Jyoti, there was Bhajan, and so many things continuously, and millions of people involved. If you talk to the car sevaks, you'll find every house, every village in UP gave their best possible help to car sevaks who were stopped at in the railway stations, sometimes hundreds of kilometers away. They walked for days together to reach the place. They were jailed on way, they were beaten black and blue, but they took care of everybody. In fact, I share you an episode, Moropant Pingle, who was the Central Committee member of RSS and was Palak or guide and a mentor of Vishwantu Parishad, drew every agitation step very meticulously. And he told, he was a genius. He was the member of Dr. Hedga's first Shakha and a very strong person. Every detail was done. And he told UP people, you will not go for Kar Seva. You will serve the people who come for Kar Seva because they're going to face great difficulties. So the organizational genius of RSS, Vishwantu Parishad, of getting millions of people involved, no caste, no creed, no state barriers, nothing. And that is what won the day. This coming together of Hindus in every possible way, breaking all the barriers, which don't believe. I think you may be aware that the first batch of Karsevs were from Andhra Pradesh. It was not from North, it was from Andhra Pradesh. And one of the persons died in the firing there also. And if on the lighter note, when you talk about struggle in Jerusalem, struggle for Kashi and Vishwanath, etc., best solution is Turkish solution. By the government degree, you simply take over the Hagia Sophia, which was a church, then a museum, and convert to a mosque. Nobody
Right.
raises
So,
a voice.
Shantanu, I think you've actually
you go
mentioned
to-
there fantastically
So
about
you
the
go to
invasions that
debates.
are happening.
Yeah, we go to debates, and people ask, when I ask people, what about Hagia Sophia? They have no answer. And the foolishness of historians, it is something you must mention, you must time and again grasp how these Marxist historians try to falsify history, who are stripped naked by the courts themselves. And for that, you should read Korna Dest's book also, which talks of negationism of Hinduism and also Ayodhya files. He was one of the first authors. Also, Meenakshi Ji Jain has done wonderful work after that. But that is the intellectual dishonesty and chicanery that must be recorded in history. And we fought that also.
Fantastic. So I think that you've actually just mentioned about the invasions, the colonialism.
One last point. Many people don't realize that actually overseas Indians also paid a very heavy price for this for movement because they were blacklisted, they were abused everywhere around the world. The temples were broken, and they also faced huge difficulties because of what is happening in Bharat. So you also deserve all the compliments for standing firm.
So Ratanji, tell me, like, I'm really intrigued to know this now, right? So throughout history, we've seen that India's faced many invasions, it's faced a period of colonialism, it's also faced secularism and appeasement, and we can see that this brings out the myriad of issues which you've just spoken about. With the Ram Mandir now, that's we can actually see in Ayodhya, the Pran Pratishtha that's about to happen. You've also mentioned Kashi and Vishwanath there. What do we think are the chances of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya leading the way and paving the way forward now in terms of setting precedents, which I think Shantanu ji, you mentioned the legal process there. Bringing those two things together, does it make it a simpler process now in Kashi, Vishwanath, Mathura, such places, to have those religious places, to perhaps create more mandirs? Do we set a precedent?
See, first, it is very ironical that when at least in Ram Mandir's case, there was no evidence left on the top of the earth. Everything was below the earth. In case of Kashi and Mathura, evidence is right in front of your eyes. And still we have to struggle. We have to go to courts. We have to show what is already historically written, evidenced, accepted. That is how the situation for Hindus is. So for that, we are going to the legal fight also, and it will happen sooner or later because the civilization of Bharat has risen. It is a renaissance that we are witnessing today. Young people, old of course, but even young people, children, boys, girls, women, men, they are all openly talking about the renaissance of Hindu Dharma. They are very proud of it, and you can witness everywhere. Now, there is this movement of Akshat distribution, that is worship rice from Ram Mandir, which we are going to distribute to 15 crore households, which means about 60 crore people. You would touch that Akshat Puja. And people come and say, I also need it, I also want it. And everywhere you go, 99% you're welcomed. Of course, 1% Hindus are those who still believe in secular and very, isolated life. When they say, Ghar mein kyun aaye? Who asked you to come home? How did you come? Especially in large cities like Mumbai. But 99% people are welcome. They come ahead, they welcome you, they give you tea, they offer you every possible thing. Now on 22nd, on their own, people are saying, we want to do Hanuman Chalisa, we want to do Sundarkand part, we want to do Ramayan part. So nation has awakened. So Kashi Vishwanath and Mathura is just a matter of time. And I don't think we'll need to actually launch any agitation. And sooner or later it will happen. And that is, as I said, for me, the tragedy is that despite every evidence being so open, we have to go to the courts. And when Kashi Vishwanath Shivling was found, they said it's a Wazu Khana. And they wanted to do Wazu over that, wash their feet there. So there are certain elements in minority community who will want to keep on creating hatred, keep on creating fear among the Muslims. And these temples are nothing to do with Hindu, Indian Muslims. They were not part of invaders. But somehow this is fed to them that as if they belong to Babur and Aurangzeb, while they have been like us. Our forefathers, they didn't convert. These people converted under threat. That is the only difference. So once we understand that these issues will get solved, I think a lot of Muslims also understand that. And but that is not the prime issue. To me, the prime issue is the renewal of faith in our nationhood, Bharatiya Sanskriti. And as I said that we have survived slowly, people are realizing. We are the only civilization, continuous civilization that has survived and renewed itself. And this is a sign of renewal. This Ram Mandir will become as big as Vatican in the coming times, I can assure you. And this will be it is a huge project. It is a project that will take 3 years to complete. So the first phase only completed now. So people are crying about it. They don't realize it's just the first phase, and that first phase is over, and they are afraid that as more phases come up, they lose whatever standing they have in the society. That is their fear. They are totally irrelevant today.
And Shantanu ji, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. See, so when the movement was going on, there were a couple of slogans. Slogans are part of movements, right?
Yes.
One of them, "Bachcha Bachcha Kaam Ka, Janmabhoomi Ke Kaam Ka, Bachcha Bachcha Ram Ka, Janmabhoomi Ke Kaam Ka." And when we were doing Ayodhya, and we're very close to Ayodhya, there's also that Ayodhya to bas jhanki hai, Mathura Kashi baki hai. And when I talked to Vishnu Jain ji, he's one of the very prominent lawyers I was in a TV debate just last week. And he told me, as Ratanji was saying, that Ayodhya was a very tough case. Mathura and Kashi are like crystal clear, like they're open, very, very easy cases. But when I go to these two places, I live in Noida, Mathura is just 2 hours from here. When I go to Mathura and Kashi, there are two aspects to it. One, and I want to compare them with Ayodhya. In Ayodhya, there was no temple at all, right? There was subsuming the temple, or using the 16 Kasauti pillars of the temple, the masjid was being built. Versus in Mathura and Kashi, there is a temple, and now Narendra Modi ji has made a big temple there, like because they have taken some other houses and make temple, and the masjid is adjacent. And as Ratanji said, the Nandi is looking not towards this Shivling, which we pray, towards the masjid, and there is a high possibility that the Vazukhana that they're showing is the Shivling. And the good news is that on 24th of this month only, the sealed report will be opened by the court, right? The sealed report of the photography of the report on the photography evidence, right? That's one. So first of all, the photography was allowed, colored photographs were allowed, with the lawyers of both the parties and the team involved. And now the similar surveys also allowed in Mathura. And Mathura also, there is a decently big temple, right? So that's a difference. So I see, whenever I talk to a lot of people, the emotions are not that high for these two temples.
Right.
Because there's a large structure already, versus Ayodhya, where there was no structure at all, right? So as Ratanji said, I think we may not need a movement, because the case is so simple. You have to just go, the day-to-day hearing should be on. That's all, right? So yeah. And recently I was in the launch of this book. I'm sure a lot of you know Francis Gautier ji. What he has done is a very simple thing. He has just translated all the fatwas of Aurangzeb into English. That's all. No interpretation, nothing. And it has a very clear fatwa on that this is on this day how you should break the Kashi temple, right? So there's no even a doubt about it, right? And these are quoted in a lot of Arabic and a lot of Islamic scriptures, right? And the museum book where it's mentioned is also kept. One of the very interesting scripture, very tricky and very saddening scripture or the fatwa is, he's saying, whenever I'm going on a horse or an elephant, I should not see any temple with my naked eyes. That's why north of India there is no big temple. So the height of the temple can only be an elephant and Aurangzeb. That's all. Like that's the only height could have been. So that'd be a tiny home temple, right? Which is not even a one floor, right? So that's why if you see, if I ask you, tell me the biggest temple in North India, which is like ancient, there's none. There's no ancient big temple in north of India, because everything is broken. Now, one more thing, what Ratanji said, that now the Akshat, the Pujit Akshat is being sent to crores and crores of houses. And it so happened, they came to me also. And I live in a very modern type apartment where all the technology walas live. And it was so, and I'll show you also. So I got these three things. This is that Akshat, the Pujit Akshat. There is Akshat inside. And there's a beautiful picture of Ram Mandir. And there's a beautiful pamphlet which has the details of the temple, how big, how long, what are the different parakotas in it, different mandaps in it, and a beautiful prayer, like a nivedan or request, a prayer of a request, that what you should do that day. Like you should light a lamp, you should pray, you should sheet live, you should do bhajan, kirtans, which people are never doing, but a beautiful instruction to a lot of people, right? So this is going to houses. So I thought it's only happening in some maybe villages, but in Noida, in a very modern type of apartment, when they came, and a very small kids also came. The Bal Swamsevaks also came, and they are the one who was telling me कि Ram Mandir बनने वाला है, आप उस दिन ऐसा करिएगा. I was like, I was teary eyes, like 8-year-old kid, 7-year-old kid requesting, and their parents are also in a modern tech new word, and this is happening everywhere, right? That's why it's a new awakening for Hindus. This I could not have imagined 5, 6, 10 years back that this type of phenomena can happen. And I must have received, Riddhi must have hundreds and hundreds of invitations, online invitations from UK, US, Australia, South Africa, because I keep traveling outside, of what they're doing that day or the weekend before or the weekend after. People are doing events after the next weekend. People are in Delhi, people are inviting them, the bhajan and party. Like it's like a different new urban culture. They're saying bhajan and prasad. So people are gathering and doing bhajan and kirtans together with mandis the next weekend and celebrating it. So I think the way it's shaping up, it's I think will be memorable.
Shantanu, let me tell you that it's not
I'll
just
just add one point.
We've actually got events happening across the UK as well to celebrate the Pran Pratishtha, and it's just incredible.
One point.
Yes,
there's one point on Mathura Kashi, because it's fast, as I talked about intellectual chicanery. Another important aspect of Mathura case is that in 1960, this trust belonged to a king who gave it to Madan Malviya to make the temple. In 1968, a Congress government made a trust, Shri Krishna Bhumi Seva Sangh, etc., with a Congress MP as the head of the trust, who had no right over the property. They negotiated with the Muslim side and gifted away part of the land to Idgah committee. It is
Without
like Bunty
Gupta.
Bubbly story. Yeah, so Bunty Bubbly story, if you have seen the movie, you know, you sell Taj Mahal to somebody which doesn't belong to you. That is how we have been cheated by Hindus themselves in Mathura. I just wanted to bring that point out, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's
we
a
talked
very,
of
very
young
well
people. I meet very old people, 80 or 90-year-old people who were there when this all this movement started, and they are teary-eyed. They said, "We never believed we'll see Ram Mandir in our own eyes. Our life is a Jeevan Safal ho gaya." There were so many such people. So it's a very emotional moment for Hindus in Bharat, definitely.
So Shantanuji, Ratanji, then let me ask you, with this whole resurgence that we can actually see, can we call this a resurgence? Because we're seeing a never seen before emotion that's now appearing not just within the Hindu diaspora as a whole, but also within the children themselves, which are coming forwards and wanting to be a part of the Hindu diaspora, wanting to actually have their voices heard, wanting to be seen. Does this actually mark a new revolution then for the Hindu identity? And can we call this a resurgence?
I'll just tell you one
Definitely,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I'll tell you a very, in fact, a little funny thing. And sorry to bring a not so shubh name in this. So I was hearing a conversation of Barkha Dutt and Nirja Chaudhary, right?
Right.
And Nirja Chaudhary is an old pro-Congress, pro-left, now so to say neutral journalist. And she said a very interesting thing. She said, 10 years back, I went to Kashi and I went to Dashashmedh Ghat for the Aarti. You all know the famous Aarti. Now the Aarti happens in multiple ghats, but earlier it used to happen only in Dashashmedh Ghat, right? And she said, yeah, there were 2,000 people. And she said, I went like recently also. And she said, how many people she saw? She said, I saw 70, 80,000 people. From 2000 to 70, 80,000. And she also mentioned that most of these people are young people.
Right.
Right? And they were not against anything, as is made out to be, oh, Hindu resurgence is against someone, and she is mentioning it. It's not against someone. They're just pro their religion, pro their astha, pro their culture. They want to visit. And because now visiting Kashi also become very easy. The airport has multiple flights. From airport to city is a very good road and a highway. Now there are multiple places to see. The ghat is very clean. The facilities are very easy. Visiting the temple is very easy. So all of that also, and there is so much news and so much information, so much YouTube, so much content around it. There is no information asymmetry that everyone wants to. And Prime Minister goes there like a drop of a hat. Like, I've never seen any Prime Minister going to his constituency so often. Prime Ministers, in fact, rarely visit their constituencies. And they have a reason also. Bhai, mere ko to pura desh chalana, I have a whole country to run. I don't have time to visit. And he goes like for every small big thing there, right? And because of he going, there's no brand ambassador bigger than him, right? So if he can start a small place like Lakshadweep, like he can start a huge debate, and the 3 ministers of a country has to resign, right? Can you imagine what can you do a ancient city like Kashi? So from two very leftist journalists, I want to bring out that they are mentioning that Hindu resurgence is happening. Yeah, so I just want to quote that.
Oh, amazing.
And a positive resurgence,
And a
not a
positive
negative one.
resurgence, not a negative, not against someone. It's like pro their culture and pro their values.
Yeah, Shantanuji, I was actually listening to an interview the other day by it was by Australian professor Salvatore Barbones. And he recently remarked in a TV interview that January the 22nd, we're seeing a shift in democracy. And we're seeing a shift from the Nehruvian vision of democracy down to a BJP RSS vision of democracy. Do we see this as being a tectonic shift in the way that Bharat is beginning to think? And more importantly, do we actually see this as a revival then of Rashtra Bharat, a new Bharat?
I think I'll start from what Ratanji said just now. Ratanji said, mentioned about Somnath and Somnath Mandir and Nehruji's engagement with Somnath Mandir. A lot of new Indians, new age Indians don't know about that. So Somnath Mandir was dilapidated. We know Gauri Gajini attacked it multiple times, countless number of times. And after independence, Sardar Patel, K.M. Munshi, they all wanted to rebuild it. Nehruji was against it. He wrote a letter when he was invited, because he was the prime minister, he was invited, that I don't believe in this Hindu revivalism, right? And he was literally like perturbed that why this is happening. And he said, what will be our national, international image? Like he was more worried of the international image, and he was for some reason thinking that international image will be maligned if you construct a temple of your own, right? I don't know what kind of thinking was that, right? And when the temple was finally temple was built, rebuilt, and Rajendra Prasad ji, the president, was called, he wrote a letter to Rajendra Prasad not to go. He wrote a letter to a lot of his member of parliaments not to go. And similar pattern was followed by multiple prime ministers, largely from the Nehru Vadra family. Similar was today. I am seeing a video of Narendra Modi feeding cows on Makar Sankranti in his house, in the prime minister's house. And during Indira Gandhi's time, lot of sadhus were killed who were protesting cow slaughter. Can you imagine the tectonic shift? Like, a prime minister is killing a lot of sadhus because they're asking for strict laws against cow slaughter, and another prime minister in prime minister house is feeding indigenous cows. Right? There's a tectonic shift that we're seeing. So what Salvatore Babnos is saying is absolutely correct. And see, Congress gave a very easy formula of election winning. Right? It's a very easy formula: divide Hindu into caste. Don't allow them to vote like Hindus. Push them to vote like Brahmins or Kshatriyas or Yadavs or Dalits, right? And try to create a fear amongst Muslims of Hindus so that they would vote and block, right? Now with this Hindu resurgence and Hindu unity, right, that formula is shattered all of a sudden. That's why it's a new politics. And now even the young, the old, the office goers, the traditional, everyone is taking pride in that, right? Can you imagine wearing a tika in a typical corporate office? You will make fun of. अरे पंडित जी आज तो बड़े धार्मिक हो रहे हैं, आज तो बड़े भाजपा वाले हो रहे हैं, आप तो बड़े संघी हो रहे हैं, right? 10 years back, you wear a temple and go in a financial sector office, go to a technology office. People will pull you. And today, I see a lot of people wearing a temple, wearing a tilak and going. If someone wear a skull cap and go to this office, nobody will say anything. So I think for long time, as Ratanji was saying, we were made like, okay, your symbols, your pratiks, your astha is very shabby, right? You should not even use it. We were put against that. Now all of this coming very naturally and very smoothly. I think that's why I think this statement is correct. 22nd January is not a simple day. It's a tectonic movement in how Indians will behave in their personal lives also.
Fantastic.
See, to
And I
take
think
what
you also-
Shantanu said, Shantanu has said a little forward, in 2014 when Modi ji won, your newspaper in UK, I think the Guardian said 2014 is the day when British finally left India. That's how the change is. That is the change. So it has taken 10 years to come from place where we were Indians, we were ashamed of our identity, we were told you are, as I said, useless people, etc. That started, indoctrination started right from the school itself. And with history, with every lesson possible, we were never told about a great mathematicians, we are not told about great scientists, or metallurgy, or shipping, our seafaring capability. Nobody talked about that. We didn't know about that. That changed now because of internet. People are asking questions. Children are asking questions. They are understanding the beauty of our religion, our dharma. And another thing that I would like to point out is that Nehruji's insistence on international image, to go a little off track, when Goa Satyagraha was done by RSS and inspired people in 1955, he was very unhappy. Because he said if we invade Goa, it will go against the international protocols. People will be against us. So small place, which is equal to 2 districts, the lakhs of people were kept in slavery till 1964 while the nation was enjoying freedom. And we said we gained independence in 1947, but actually they did not. And to put it in perspective, what kind of thinking was, I always give example that the clash of identities was two identity. One was the people who believed that we were never a nation. We were born on 15th August 1947, courtesy midwife Mr. Mountbatten and Chacha Nehru and Bapu. These are the people who actually helped us get a nation which didn't exist before 15th August. Then there are people like us, foolish people, Gamar people, bumpkins who believe that we are 10,000-year-old civilization with continuity unparalleled in history. And we talked about pride of our civilization, knowledge system, philosophy. We are not just spiritual people. We are very successful people who created wealth. And that has been accepted now by so many reports. And this was never known to us. And who gave them one of the best documentary evidences? Dharampal, who who did research originally in UK. and wrote wonderful books on our education system, on our science and technology. And you will be surprised, he was arrested by Nehruji for criticizing Nehru. That is the kind of world we lived in. Second example I give is that actually the zero meridian goes from Mahakal, Ujjain. That is a whole calculation of Surya Siddhant, the entire astronomy. So you can either find Ujjain as the zero meridian, or you can say Greenwich is the zero meridian. So where you stand decides your viewpoint. You stand in Ujjain claiming that is zero meridian, you look at India as, as Bharat. You stand in Greenwich zero meridian and look at India as Britishers. This is the essence of this clash of civilizations,
Yes,
or worldview of civilizations.
amazing remarks by both of you. So Shantanu, I think you mentioned a really important point there. And one of the things I'd like to say is that the reason that Yogi Adityanath actually came to power was because he appealed to both sides. He wasn't actually working on the basis of caste, but he got people on his side. And that's one of the reasons why people like Prime Minister Modi ji brought him into power in Uttar Pradesh. So building on that now, do we actually think that one of the reasons that Uttar Pradesh is so successful and has managed to achieve remarkable feats like building the Ram Mandir Ayodhya is as a result of the forward thinking by people like Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji, for example? And where do we see this going in the future?
I think a lot of people call it coincidence, but why this time only, right? Why it's happening now? I think this is a Devyog also. Why I say so? So in 1949, when the Ramlala Murti appeared in the temple, right? The first person who initiated the huge Ram Katha there and starting the Archana there was Mahanta Digvijayanath, who is the Dada Guru of Yogi Adityanath. When VHP made the first committee on Ram Mandir, the Ashok Singhal made the first committee, the first sadhu he made the head of that committee was Mahanta Vedanath, which is the guru of Yogi Adityanath. And today when the temple is getting built, Yogi Adityanath is the chief minister. The continuity of three gurus of the same mutt is involved in the temple movement. And this is on the movement, social and religious movement side. On the political side, Lal Krishna Advani ji ran the biggest yatra. And who was the mastermind for the whole yatra? Narendra Modi ji. And he's the prime minister. I think Ramji was also waiting for these two, like people like Narendra Modi, people like Yogi Adityanath at the helm of things when the temple will come. Otherwise, temple would have come and some Danvi Shaktis would have destroyed it again, or maybe would have done a half-hearted job. So, as soon as Yogi Adityanath came to power, he started preparing Ayodhya for the welcoming Shri Ram. You know how? He's first of all made Ayodhya as a municipal corporation. So in India, there are municipal corporation, there are municipalities, there are nagar panchayats, and you get budget based. Like if you are municipal corporation, you get higher budgets, right? So it started getting higher budgets, a mayor, lot of parshads, right? And then the widening of streets, street lights, solid waste management, cleaning of ghats, aarti, like a proper aarti, the way it happens in Kashi, now it's a grand aarti happens. He started something like a Choti Diwali or a Deepotsav on a day before Diwali. First, they started with 1 lakh, 100,000 diyas. And Ayodhya, which was kind of a disputed town before that, became a celebrated town all of a sudden. Ayodhya holds 7 Guinness Book of World Record of lighting highest number of diyas. It started with 1 lakh, and the last Deepavali is 22.5 lakhs. And it gave jobs to number of people because 22.5 lakh, one potter cannot make, right? So a Mati board would make, made, which is now creating, contacting a lot of potters. And there's a huge economy around pottery, huge economy around tourism, even without the temple. When the temple will come up along with Ramji's Kripa, a lot of Lakshmiji Kripa will also happen. That area, see, India has almost 250 plus towns which run on temple town economy. Tirupati is a 3,000-4,000 economy. Even a Shridi temple, which is only attended by a few, it's a 500 crores of economy. Ayodhya will be a huge economy. And it will be a circuit in whole of eastern UP, and a lot of Buddhist circuit, and the Mata Sita temple should also be, I think, improved, built in Bihar area, and be a huge circuit toward the east of India. So I think that's my feeling, that someone like Yogi Adityanath, someone like Narendra Modi were godsend only for this purpose, I feel. And they're connected to this from many years. Just one last point. Yogi Adityanath, in my first book on Yogi Adityanath, I've noted that Yogi Adityanath was nicely studying in a college, wearing bandana, wearing goggles, pant shirt, right? And you know how he met Mahanta Vedanath? when Mahendranath goes to his college, he studied in a small college for a session on Ram Mandir. Can you imagine that? Because he was the head of the committee, he was given a task of the prachar that he should go to all college campuses and talk about why the movement is necessary. And he's doing this in 1991, right? And from 800, Gorakhpur is almost 800, 900 kilometers from where he was studying in Uttarakhand. He lands him in college, and the first time they both talk, right? A pant-shirt boy, which is Ajay Singh Bist, on a context of Ram Temple. And today, when he's the chief minister, Ram Temple is getting built. So I think this is Devayog. This is not only coincidence, I think.
Yes, I think it's a
I'll
fantastic
add a
world
little
time that
comment
we
to
live in
that.
as well.
I'll add a little comment to this. I have written earlier also. Actually, Modi ji and Yogi ji are product of the times we live in.
Exactly.
If you look at the renaissance of Hindu society, it was the effort started 100 years back when RSS started this work. Then various movements continuously, movement against conversion, Ekatmata Yatra, then Ram Janmabhoomi was the biggest movement, as I said, in India, pre-independence, post-independence. Number of people involved in this is, as I said, humongous, crores of people. And that atmosphere that created was of Hindu Renaissance and Hindu rise, which gave a chance to people like Modi ji and Yogi ji to get elected on a platform which would never have won them elections if it had happened 10 years back. At the right time, the right people who went with the tide and did what they're supposed to do. So it's a historical dialectic, if I may say so, using leftist terminology, that the time of Renaissance and Modi ji and Yogi, at that particular time of Renaissance, they were elected. See, Atalji and Advani ji couldn't do it. They were also product of the time. The right time came, and the right people were there at the time. That is how this everything has happened. And as I said, Kal Chakri, Sudarshan ji, the Sarsang Chalava Sangh, fifth Sarsang Chalak, he had said in 2003 that we are passing through a Sandhi Kal, when we will get into a time when Bharat will rise as a world power, as the Guru, Vishwa Guru, and nobody can stop it. And when it happens, there is always a Sandhi Kal. That is the period of dawn and dusk, when for some years you will find huge disturbances, you'll find a lot of uneasiness, and that is the Sandhikal we will be living through. So today, in last 10 years, actually, we have been going through a Sandhikal, that time of changeover from a negative civilization to very, very positive civilization. And these two leaders are at the right time in UP and in Bharat, and world around you'll see these changes happening. So this is a forecast done by great people, including Swami Vivekananda and all these people. And Dattopant Thengdi in 1975, when everything was so dark, emergency was there, one of the Karyakartas asked him that everything looks so dark, there is no light anywhere. And what will happen? Like the thousands of people are in jail, and people are happy with discipline and all that is around in India. Dattopant Thengdi ji said that there is a Kal Chakra, wheel of time. We were on the top of the world for many reasons. We went down, West came up. Coming years belong to Bharat, and you will witness it in coming years. Look at the confidence of RSS Pracharak thinker. And he said, you will see and you'll find the Hindu organizations, RSS being the spine of the movement, and all the Sajjan Shakti called it, there is good people, they will all come together, and it was a huge upsurge, huge change in Bharat and in the world. That is the foresight of these great people.
Shantanu ji, Ratan ji, thank you so much for your amazing insights today.